take this out for a drive. It is my sad day because this is probably the last day I will be able to drive this Challenger, as this is the end of season review. All right, guys, so I have had this vehicle now. This will be my second summer of ownership. So I bought this in January of 2024. It is now fall of 2025. So I have 2 seasons of driving under my belt. And I'm taking it out today. I have to move this to a different location other than my normal storage shed because I am selling a car and you know, I just need to essentially make some space for some other cars that I bought. But anyway, we're getting back to the point here. Essentially, I love this car. This is my dream car. I should say it is one of my dream cars ever since I was a little kid, because who doesn't love the Challenger commercials? Any of the SRT commercials, but specifically the Challenger commercial where George Washington was defending the USA from the British in his Dodge Challenger SRT8. It was just phenomenal. So I just remember that being ingrained in my mind as a kid, and then of course when you get older you make a little bit of money, and I was able to afford one of these. But 2 seasons of driving down. I've got 2,358 miles on this beast here. I don't anticipate myself driving this too much anymore because you know, it's getting to the end of the season. It's currently 57 degrees. This is one of the last nice days that we have here on the docket, and it really, you know, is gonna go downhill from here. So I just want to start by this. The Challenger has been one of my most favorite vehicles to drive in the time period that I've owned it, because let's listen. That's why. That is why. Paired with the 6.1 Hemi is the Tremec TR6060 transmission, which I may say is the chef's kiss to the Challenger. Please, whatever you do, please do not buy the Mercedes-Benz 5-speed automatic that comes standard on these SRT cars. It is garbage. The 6-speed Tremec TR6060 is the only way to have a Challenger or any other SRT product, which sadly you can only get in the Challenger. It is wonderful. It allows you to control and shift the way you want, and basically have a mechanical connection to this car that you can't get with that Mercedes-Benz transmission. It is just so wonderful. When you are behind the wheel of the Challenger, it is just, and I'm speaking from experience, I own a Camaro SS as well. This is a totally different experience than a Camaro. You know, even the 5th gen, and people love to rag on the Camaro, especially the 5th gen, for being a non-driver's car, but when you compare that Camaro to this Challenger, that is a driver's car. This vehicle here is made for two things, burnouts and Sunday cruises. You are not going to go around any corners quick in this Challenger, and you are not going to win any autocrosses with this. This is made for going fast in a straight line and big sweepers, and made to show off. That's what this vehicle is made for, and that is why I absolutely love it. It has got such a brawler personality to it that if my Camaro walked into a bar, this Challenger walked into the bar, and my Corvette walked into a bar, I'm not even going to include my Solstice because that doesn't fit in this. If those 3 walk into a bar, this is the one walking out. Let's put it that way. This is the person who is 6'6", weighs 300 pounds, and can take anybody out in the bar just based on sheer force. This is not the fastest, this is not the most agile, but it is the loudest, it is the most boisterous, and it is probably the most fun person to be around, because what you see is what you get. And after 2 years of ownership, I don't think I've learned any other way about this vehicle than that. What you see is what you get. You get a big two-door coupe with loud personality and essentially just a great car to be around. A great, almost, it's one of those friends that never leaves you hanging, is always there for you, always has your back, and really gets you to where you want to be in a fun way. This is an awesome vehicle, and I'm just so happy to own it. But let's talk about driving dynamics here. I want to get into the meat of the review here. So, seating position, awesome. You do have a lot of space here. There's not a lot of blind spots here in the Challenger. The C pillar does stick out a little bit to where, yeah, it's a little tough to see, but it's not terrible. You could definitely daily drive this. Out of the 4 sports cars that I have, this is the easiest daily drivable car. The trunk in here is huge. Seating position, like I said, is nice. Mirrors are really nice, even though they have that retro circular shape to them. Shifting action here is notchy. Like, yes, I'm going from 5th to 4th. You know you are in gear when you put it into gear. There is nothing to tell you that, hey, I am not in gear. You know it when you are in gear right away. And you know where you are on the map, too. You can go 1st to 2nd, 1st to 3rd, 1st to 5th, and you know, hey, I'm in 5th gear, I'm not in 3rd gear. That is definitely something that this transmission, this TR6060, does extremely well at telling you what gear you are in without having to look down at the shifter, especially if you are a newbie to driving manuals. You can drive this car. If you are a newbie, ask me. This was the first car I drove as a manual that I have ever owned, and I did it without. It took about a week of driving, and then it became second nature. But shift point, I just had to get that out. Grab point here, friction point with the clutch. It is not quite as nice as my Camaro with that TR6060, but it is okay. It could be better. It's just such a, it's such a precise, which you wouldn't expect with this car, but it's such a precise friction point. You've got so much play in the clutch, and then when it comes to the friction point, there's only a little bit of room for error there. That is one thing I do have to say that is negative about the car. The friction point here is definitely left to be desired. There should, for the character of this car, there should be more play. Steering is it's not precise, guys. Let's put it that way. It's sharp, but the rack is pretty slow, so it's not, turn and you're there. You do have to move the steering wheel a little bit to get you to where you want to go. Oddly enough, when I had my 300 SRT, that had a quicker rack on it, and because it was almost 50-50 distributed weight, its steering was a lot better, and everything else was very flat. In the Challenger here, you have to be careful. There is so much understeer on this vehicle because all of the weight, well, I shouldn't say all of it, but 60% of the weight is up front because you've got that big V8 engine that takes up the whole engine bay in front of you. So a lot of the weight here is up front, a lot of understeer. I find a lot of understeer going hard into corners. We're going to pass somebody here quick. Oh yeah. You just feel like you have all the power in the world when you go to pass somebody. This is nuts. But yeah, steering is a little left to be desired. Suspension setup is a little left to be desired, and they have fixed that in newer Challengers and Chargers. I have driven them before. I am telling you, from the reiteration of the Challenger in 09, they have until now, The steering and the suspension setup it's improved so much. You feel like you are genuinely driving a sports car when you get into a 2015 or newer Charger and Challenger, just with the way everything is set up, camber, everything like that. One other thing to add here, these are 245 fronts and 255 rear tires, so you're not getting the appropriate grip that one would come to expect with a dedicated sports car like this. This definitely suffers from not enough tire front and rear, which they did fix in the older or in the newer generation vehicles, especially with the wide body package. They use 305s all the way around, I believe, with those. But again, taking corners is not this car's sweet spot. It is big sweepers. You know, you can really, this car is really good for this. Going into fast sweepers, loading up each side of the suspension, loading up the left side, loading up the right side. If you can load those up in turns, you can really move this car around nicely. But it's when you need to make those technical moves that this car just doesn't excel in. A lot of pushing, a lot of understeer, just because of the fact that, you know, you have a lot of the weight up front. But again, where I live in northern Wisconsin, I don't have a track to go to, so why would I care at the end of the day? And I guess if you do want a vehicle for the track, you're not buying this vehicle for that. You're getting a newer Charger or Challenger, probably the wide body package, to take that to the track, or you're getting a Corvette like I have as well. But you're not taking this to go around twisties. And quite frankly, where I live in northern Wisconsin, we don't have a lot of twisty bits. We have a lot of straightaways and areas that we can go very, very fast, very, very quick. So with that being said, guys, I want to end this 2-season review just taking a look at the exterior here. I just want to show you the great body lines of the Challenger. This out of the Mustang, Camaro, and Challenger here, if you're looking, and even Charger included, if you're looking at the best retro design, kind of retro throwback muscle car look, this wins hands down. This is such a throwback to the 69 and 70 Charger and Challenger. It's just a newer version of it. Really, it's a newer or more modern version. And one reason to buy this over a newer generation, or the refresh, I should say, not a newer generation, because they never made a newer generation, it was just refresh, is that 6.1 Hemi. I have owned the 6.4 Hemi, I've owned the 6.1 Hemi, I've owned multiple 5.7 Hemis, and I've driven Hellcat cars. If you're looking for an affordable option that isn't a Hellcat, you know, where you're going to have to pay $50 to $60, $70, $80,000, and you only want to pay $20 to $30, 6.1 Hemi, man. This vehicle is such a beast. This engine is such a beast of an engine because you can add boost to it, you can supercharge it, you can turbocharge it if you really want to without any issue, because this is based off of the 5.7 Hemi. This is not a 6.4 where it's its own, you know, vehicle, or its own engine, I should say. You can do a lot to this motor and you can get a lot out of it. And not to mention, it sounds great. Again, this has a custom exhaust on it, but this sounds wonderful. This is probably one of the best sounding V8 engines I have ever heard in my life. It roars, it barks, it really has, it has low, it has high, it has everything to it. It has intake. I truly believe this is the best Hemi engine that Dodge has ever built, Chrysler has ever built in their vehicles. It is just such a reliable power plant, especially if you take care of it. I've seen many people get well over 200,000 miles on this. I will never reach that, but man, do I love it. It is just a great, great, great vehicle and great engine to drive around. Oh yeah, this thing wanted to... little chirp in third gear. This, going around corners, this thing just wants to kick out the rear end. You can drift this vehicle so easily. It is just, you gotta have money for tires. Let's put it that way. You have to have money for tires. But let's hop out here, take a look at the exterior, and wrap out this 2-season review of this beautiful 2009 Dodge Challenger SRT8. Starting off with the diamond black, or brilliant black, my bad, brilliant black paint here. This just has a shine to it, similar to our Durango, that you know, really blows away other black colors from the GM and Ford lineup. It looks beautiful. This has held up really well actually since 2009. This did have PPF on it, and yes, it does have some bug spots on it from just driving over here, but I love how the front end looks with the low spoiler up front, the chin spoiler, along with the really good, well-placed fog lamps, I think, in my opinion. And this was the time where the did not have halo lighting, which I'm not even going to put in either. I think it looks really good the way it is. Of course, it says Challenger SRT up front. You know, looking at the side profile here, you get huge 20-inch rims. Like I said, 245 up front, 255 in the rear, fitted with Brembo 6-piston brakes up front and 4-piston in the back. They really are huge brakes. Now, that is one thing that I have to say. This vehicle brakes like no other, and it needs to, because it weighs 4,100 pounds. It's a large, you know, it's a large vehicle. But with the ghost striping here and then flowing back to the retro fuel cap, I mean, how can you not love this vehicle? It is just so lovely and so retro inspired. The rear looks good, especially with the 2 exhaust tips out back, but I think, and they could have cleaned this up a little bit better, which they did in 2015, but it still looks cool with the SRT nameplate here, logo on the back. Oh man, it is just such a lovely vehicle. But again, looking at the paint, you could see just how perfect the paint is here at 36,000 miles, I believe, 37,000 miles. So it really held up super, super well. Down here is held up well too. That's again just some road grime that is from driving over here, which you really can't tell. But this vehicle is in perfect condition. Some real hood venting right there. You can actually feel the heat coming out of the hood vents there. And of course you get the 6.1 Hemi badge on the side. So, all right guys, we're gonna leave you at that. 2-season ownership review of this Challenger SRT8. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and we'll see ya in the next one.